Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty profound. How just one lie can start to twist your whole reality and even begin to fracture society. But, and this is the important part, we're also going to look at the one choice that might just be the only real antidote.
So, let's start with a story, a real-world example from a political campaign. Picture this. A few people show up with tiki torches, right? They're posing as supporters of one candidate, basically trying to make him and his followers look terrible. The twist? Turns out they were actually operatives from the opposing campaign. Now, the argument we're digging into today says this isn't just dirty politics. No, this is something way more dangerous. A deliberate lie designed to create a total fiction and demonize your fellow citizens.
Right, so you might think, okay, that's just politics. But it points to something much, much deeper. The real question is, how can one little act of deception be that corrosive? What is it really that makes a lie so incredibly dangerous?
All right. Section 1, a dangerous game. To really get a grip on the danger here, we've got to look beyond the political theatrics. See, the argument is that the real damage, it doesn't start out there in public. Nope. It starts somewhere a lot closer to home.
And this is really the key insight we're looking at. You know, we tend to see these things and think it's all just some big external political fight. But the whole argument here is that the decay, the corrosion, it doesn't actually start out there in the world. It starts inside of us. It starts the moment a so-called political game becomes a personal lie. Okay, so that leaves us right into Section 2, the lie you tell yourself. If the real danger starts with us, with a personal lie, well, what does that lie actually do to the person telling it? This is where things get really interesting and where the trouble truly begins.
And that brings up a really fundamental question, doesn't it? Is it even possible to tell a lie to someone else without, on some level, lying to yourself? I mean, you might think, sure, I know what the truth is. I'm just, saying something different. But the psychological case being made here is pretty stark. It's that, no, you actually can't.
And check this out. This is how that internal corruption happens. It's a step-by-step process. First, you tell what feels like a small lie. No big deal, right? But then, and this is the sneaky part, to feel okay about it, to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling, what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, you start to justify it. You tell yourself why it was necessary. And when you do that, your own beliefs actually start to bend. Before you know it, your thoughts get all tangled up into what one source calls a rat's nest, and your very perception of reality starts to warp to fit the lie. And the final step, you literally become what you practice. You become a liar.
Section 3, a spiral of distrust. And here's the thing, this internal rot, it doesn't stay inside you. It's not a private matter. Once a person's view of reality is twisted, that damage leaks out. It scales up, and it starts poisoning the well for everyone.
This is a perfect way to visualize it. It's not just one person lying to another. It kicks off what's called a positive feedback loop. You know that awful high-pitched screech you get when a microphone gets too close to a speaker? That's the idea. One side lies, which makes the other side deeply suspicious. So they feel justified in lying back, which of course just confirms the first side's suspicions and makes them even more paranoid. And the whole thing just spirals, getting louder and more destructive until all you have is chaos and mutual distrust. Now, what fuels this whole crazy spiral is a really corrosive idea. The belief that everything is just a power game. That there's no such thing as real truth, just your truth and my truth, and it's all just a weapon to get what you want. In that world, society is nothing but a battlefield. There's no common ground, only conflict. But there's another path. The alternative is to see society as a space for genuine dialogue, a place where truth isn't a weapon, but a share of goal that we're all trying to get closer to.
Section 4. What do we aim for? Okay, so if that world of pure power and lies just leads to a chaotic mess, what's the alternative? What do we build on instead? What's the foundation? And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because you can't just say, hey everyone, let's just talk more. It doesn't work that way. For any real conversation to happen, any real dialogue, you have to agree on something first. There has to be a shared starting point, a reason to even believe the conversation is worth having.
The answer put forward here is a kind of faith. A faith in a concept the ancient Greeks called logos. And no, this isn't just a fancy word for talking. It's a deep belief in the power of truthful, honest conversation. It's the assumption, the faith, that if two people with good intentions really talk and exchange ideas, they can both walk away better off, a little wiser, and a little closer to what's actually true.
And this is so important. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky philosophical idea. The argument is that this commitment to logos, this belief in truthful dialogue, it's the absolute bedrock. It's the practical, nitty-gritty foundation that makes any functional society, any trust, any cooperation, even possible.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 5. Your most fundamental choice. Because this is where this whole big philosophical idea comes crashing down to earth. It becomes intensely personal. It boils down to one single, powerful choice that every single one of us has to make.
And here's a really useful, kind of personal test for this. Take a hard look at your own beliefs, your own worldview. Do you ever find yourself having to, bend the truth a little to defend it? Do you have to leave out inconvenient facts, or maybe even tell a flat-out lie to make your point? The argument here is that if the answer is yes, that's a huge red flag. It's a sign that your belief system might have become an ideology that's doing more harm than good.
So, after all that, what's the solution? How do we fix this? Well, it's not a new policy. It's not a political party. The ultimate answer proposed here is psychological. It's individual. The only way to break that social spiral of distrust is to break our own personal habit. The solution is for each of us, individually, to make the choice to just stop lying.
So you see how it all connects? From a political stunt with tiki torches all the way to ancient Greek philosophy. And it leaves us with a really provocative and really personal question. If the chaos we see in the world is fueled by lies, and the only true antidote is a choice that each of us has to make, then the question we all have to ask ourselves is this: what lie, big or small, will you choose to stop telling today?